The Mau Mau Uprising, a fight for land and freedom. The Mau Mau Rebellion was a pivotal moment in Kenya's history. It lasted from 1952 to 1960. The rebellion was a fight against British colonial rule. Dedan Kimathi emerged as a key leader of this struggle. He led the Kenya Land and Freedom Army, or KLFA. The Mau Mau fighters were determined to reclaim their land and achieve independence. The rebellion was not a spontaneous outburst. It was rooted in years of oppression. The British had taken over fertile land from the Kikuyu people. This land expropriation left many Africans displaced and impoverished. The colonial government also enforced discriminatory policies. Africans faced restrictions on movement, education, and political participation. The Mau Mau Rebellion posed a significant challenge to British authority. It was a guerrilla war fought in the dense forests of Kenya. The British were caught off guard by the Mau Mau's determination and resilience. The rebellion had a profound impact on Kenya's path to independence. Seeds of rebellion, land loss, and discrimination. The Mau Mau Rebellion did not happen overnight. It was the culmination of years of resentment and anger. At the heart of the uprising was the issue of land. The British had seized vast tracts of fertile land from the Kikuyu people. This land was given to white settlers, leaving the Kikuyu landless and struggling to survive. The loss of land had a devastating impact on the Kikuyu way of life. Land was not just an economic asset, it held deep cultural and spiritual significance. The forced removal from their ancestral lands created a deep sense of injustice and anger among the Kikuyu people. This resentment towards the British grew over time. Discriminatory policies further fueled the flames of rebellion. The colonial government treated Africans as second-class citizens. They were denied basic rights and freedoms. Africans were subjected to forced labor and heavy taxation. They were denied access to quality education and healthcare. These injustices created a climate of anger and frustration. The British response, a campaign of suppression. The British responded to the Mau Mau uprising with swift and brutal force. In October 1952, the colonial government declared a state of emergency in Kenya. This declaration marked the beginning of a brutal campaign to crush the rebellion. The British deployed thousands of troops to Kenya. They were equipped with modern weapons and aircraft. The British military carried out widespread operations against the Mau Mau fighters. They bombed suspected hideouts and villages. They used scorched earth tactics, burning down homes and crops. The British also imposed strict curfews and restrictions on movement. This made it difficult for the Mau Mau to operate and gain support. To further weaken the rebellion, the British established a network of detention camps. These camps were notorious for their horrific conditions. Tens of thousands of Kenyans were detained without trial. They were subjected to torture, starvation, and forced labor. The brutality of the British response left a lasting scar on Kenya. The Mau Mau fighters were outnumbered and outgunned by the British. However, they were determined to fight for their freedom. They used guerrilla tactics to harass the British and their allies. They launched surprise attacks on European farms and government installations. The Mau Mau also targeted African collaborators who supported the colonial government. One of the key aspects of the Mau Mau movement was the oathing ceremonies. These ceremonies were highly secretive and involved taking solemn oaths of loyalty and secrecy. The oaths bound the fighters together and instilled a sense of fear in their opponents. These ceremonies were essential in maintaining discipline and unity within the movement. Life in the detention camps was brutal. Prisoners were crammed into overcrowded and unsanitary conditions. They were subjected to physical and psychological torture. Many died from disease, starvation, or mistreatment. The stories of survivors paint a grim picture of the horrors endured in these camps. Despite the hardships, the Mau Mau spirit remained unbroken.